In case you haven't noticed this pile of stuff over here, you can tell that I'm maybe getting ready for a family vacation. How many of you have a family vacation planned? By raise of hands, how many of you have nice. Okay, we need like pretty much everybody's hand. It's been a year and the winter was long. We need everybody to go on a vacation this summer somehow, right? So I'm delighted that as many of you as raised your hand are getting away, getting a little bit of a refresh and a recharge after a busy school year. And so the question I have for you is, how do you approach packing for your getaway? Do you take the scouting approach of be prepared? Are you someone who brings everything but the kitchen sink? Or maybe you're an RV or camper camping person and you even bring the kitchen sink. Do you add anything and everything that might be needed by you or your traveling companions, or things you think they might need? Hold on, sorry. Okay, that's not helpful. No. I apologize, I'm having technical difficulties now. There we go, okay. Do you ever find that you've forgotten an essential item and brought stuff you didn't need? If you're traveling with kids, do you let them do their own thing and hope for the best? Or pack extra just in case? I'm totally guilty of that, okay? When it comes time to load things up, is there room in your trunk? Or are your traveling companions squished in between all the odds and ends that you have to have with you? Do you expect to pay airline overage fees? Okay. Or are you a traveling minimalist? Do you plan ahead, checking things off your well-organized list as you pack up, just taking the bare essentials like a seasoned pro with a ready stash of travel-size containers to carry all your things so you can live out of a carry-on and a well-packed backpack for the duration of your trip? I want to know, is anybody like that? Oh, good. I'm so glad that you're not all like me and my pile of stuff. Now, how do you take this approach and apply it to your website? Does it sometimes seem like you've tried to take everything you might possibly need or have and put it on the web just in case? I'm afraid we often approach our websites like we do a poorly planned trip, with a what if we might, maybe need this attitude, and not with the intentional approach of understanding what is actually needed and why. How many of you have heard the phrase, just put it on the web, by someone in your organization? Yep, I'm seeing a few hands, all right, well done. I mean, I'm sorry you had to hear that, but, good job for confessing to it. I'm afraid that is not an effective web content strategy, and it could even lead to trouble. And much like a poorly planned trip, your website visitors may not end up where they need to be, when they need to be there, with the things they really need to have. A better approach would be to follow our travel minimalist on our web journey. Know what you actually need, why you actually need it, and plan accordingly, leaving non-essentials behind. Each of you are here because in some way, shape, or form, you are part of the web content landscape at Utah State. You have some kind of a responsibility for what appears as part of the USU web presence. In short, you've got a website, maybe even more than one. So, now what? In the spirit of travel minimalists, it all starts with a strategy, a web content strategy. But what exactly is web content strategy? Christina Halverson provides us with two great definitions: getting the right content to the right people in the right place at the right time, making user-centered, goal-driven choices about your content throughout its life cycle. All of these things are important. We need to keep them in mind. So, what does that mean for you? Right about now, you might be thinking, how am I supposed to have a web content strategy? I don't even know if we have a department web strategy. I'm just the person who puts stuff on the website. What does this mean for me? I hope that's not the case, but if that is, we're here for you. The answer is it depends on a lot of factors. Things like your audience, your particular content, who is creating your content, who makes decisions about your content, your options for sharing content, and your role in content management, not just website management. You've got to understand these factors before you can craft an effective strategy. Since the majority of us are dealing with existing websites, we're going to look first at the right people part of web content strategy. Too many times we approach our websites, we lose track of who our audience is over time. We get so caught up in the day-to-day that we forget to stop and really ask ourselves, who is our audience? Let's start with some audience participation questions, okay? So here we go. Who are you trying to reach on your website? Students, okay, thank you, Neil. Levi? Okay. Okay, so you got depends, you kind of adding to the students. Neil mentioned you're talking about alumni, donors, faculty. Okay, anyone else think of one? Yeah, go for it, Simon. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Simon. I appreciate that. So you gave me a prioritized list even, kind of focus areas. He also mentioned one that we haven't talked about before, people who don't know who you are yet. Okay, so the unknown, right? We're not sure why they're there, but they've come to you somehow, and you want to be able to kind of give them a nutshell of who you've got. So we've got current students. You mentioned we're not for sure who, but you've got prospective students and the whole landscape there, right? Okay, does that pretty much cover that? We've kind of got some good key pieces. I did hear students, prospective students, kind of in all of those. And a lot of the times it can be some or all of the above. And thank you, Simon, because my next question was, who's your primary audience? Again, this is going to depend on your content and who your general audience is, but for most departmental websites, this is your primary marketing tool. Why they want to come to your particular program, why your program is really cool and meets their needs. So let's dive a little deeper. And again, I'm going to ask you about your audience. Why are they coming to your site? It's already been alluded to a little bit, but why are they coming to your site? I heard something. Feel free to yell it out and I'll repeat. No clue? Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Anyone else? Information. That's a great broad category, right? They're obviously coming to your site because you are providing information. Right? Okay. What else? Yeah, Levi? Okay, so an action, like they're going to register. They don't just need to learn something, they need to do something about it. Maybe it's register. I know you guys do engineering state, and a lot of you have like summer programs and whatnot, or workshops that you might have people learn about and then need to act on to apply. Okay? Event details, thank you very much. So what exactly is happening? So a targeted set of information. You know, why do they want, in the case of College of Science, why do they want to come to Science Unwrapped? Besides the fact that it's really cool, right? What are they going to learn? Date, time, location, and maybe get a sense of what's going to happen, right? All right, excellent. So you've got the idea there. We've got people who are, we kind of have an idea of who's coming. We have a good sense of that, but we also know that they might need to do something about it. So what do they do after they visit your site? You know, maybe they've gone ahead and registered for that workshop. Maybe they've learned what they needed to do and now they've added Science Unwrapped to their calendar, or they're going to share it with their friends. Maybe they need to fill out an interest form, so then you know why they came. Like a prospective student Simon mentioned, maybe what they need to do is, I want to know more about political science. What does that mean? What can I do with this degree? I want to ask an advisor or something like that, right? Maybe they need to start an application process. Maybe you've got a specialty program where they're already at Utah State, they're a student, but there's a special program you have to do some extra steps to be admitted to. Did they learn about that? Are they acting on that? And maybe they need to make a purchase. Maybe you've got some, if you're King College of the Arts and you've got a student who needs to buy some art supplies. I know that's one of the options. Overarching all of this, the question becomes, can your audience quickly and easily find what they are looking for? It's really nice that we offer really helpful information and things to do, but it does not help anyone if that audience can't quickly and easily find it. So you have to ask yourselves the questions. Is your site easy to navigate? Did you include page title, page description when you created your content so that it can be Googled, okay? Are your pages laid out for quick absorption? Did I go to that register page that Levi mentioned, and could I tell date, time, place, any cost? Quickly, I could get in, fill out this form, and be done? I know Levi's website, probably yes. Okay, all right. Or did they come and get a wall of text? Are your URLs easy to read? Have you carefully considered names of your files, your folder structure? As incredible as our websites may be, not a single member of any of our audiences woke up this morning wanting to devote any significant time to looking through our websites. Is that a surprise to you all? Oh, good. Okay, I don't have to dive in more deeply. They've got things to do, places to go, people to see. It's our job to make their job easier. And I can't say this enough. You are not your user. Now, unless you are managing the Staff Employee Association website, your site is not actually built for you. I had to make that clarification because I work on that site, and everything that goes on there is something I'm interested in as a staff member. But unless you're that site, your site is for an audience that's not you. It's meant to be built and maintained for your actual audience and their actual needs. It is easy to get caught up in the trap of, but I like this, or, but I think this is cool. When you look at your site, make sure you keep your actual audience in mind. Okay. So in really great news, you already have the right content. But do you know what that right content is? So we're going to ask a bunch of questions to have you kind of think about what this is. So when you think about what content do you have, maybe you're the experts in something cool. And I'm going to give a shout out to our extension folks and their awesome outreach, okay? They are getting community information out there. If I want to learn how to plant a garden, I can go to extension and I can find it. Do you have information about your potential students and their needs? Okay, so I'm thinking admissions, registrar, degree finder, catalog. All of those are important sources of information for our prospective students. So, why does someone out there need that information? Why are they coming? We've already kind of alluded to that. Do they need to learn how to plant their garden, right? Do they need to find the registration schedule so they know and don't miss out on a chance to get all the classes they want? Or maybe they need to buy tickets to an upcoming concert or an event. Do they have a child leaving to go on a mission and they need to know how to help them put their admissions on hold? Or do they have a child serving in the military that needs to defer while they take care of their military service? What about finding an upcoming network opportunity or career fair? Okay, is your website the best place for your content to live? These are all questions to consider. Or is there another place for it? Are you the actual owner of that information? If not, where should your audience find it instead of your website? Is your website the best place for this content at all? Or is there another place your content should live instead of your public website? So you've got content you don't own or manage, and then you've also got content that maybe the best place isn't your website. So while you're looking at it, maybe you can check out what's happening on the back end of your site. Is your content well organized to streamline updates and management? That part is for you. You've got to make sure that you can keep this up. And is your organization consistent across all the sections of the site? Is it easy for you to figure out where things are? And do you have any standards that you need to apply? What is the life cycle of your content? Do you know why the content is there and how long it's needed? Does it match your audience needs? Is your content up to date and old content removed? What content needs to be updated regularly? Do you have registration deadlines? Do you have schedules that need to be updated? And do you know when that needs to be updated? And do you know what content is even being used? The most, the least, or not at all? Analytics can help you with that, and we'll dive into that more later. Where else should your content be shared? So if this is important, are you using multiple channels? Are you considering using multiple channels for sharing that, like social media or email campaign or maybe your Canvas courses? Things to consider when you're thinking about your content. And now that you've looked at your existing content, who is responsible for creating that content? Now, I don't just mean who maintains it on the website, but it's who's the owner of this content. These are the people responsible for creating the right content. So if you're an extension, that's going to be the person who can put together that fact sheet on how to handle your garden. If you are the person providing resources on home and family, it's going to be maybe it's a faculty member who's providing that. Do those people know that they own that content? And if you are the one who creates content, is that a deliberate assignment or a responsibility or an afterthought? Somebody who just said, well, you can handle it. You put it on. Do the content creators of your site intentionally create their content with their audience in mind? And was the content crafted for easy digestion? Do you know what web reading level is ideal for your audience? And use tools to evaluate your content before you post it? And are your pages generally crafted to easily digest it by their layout? Can you find quick information, key pieces? And then who are your website decision makers? They may have a role in content creation, but oftentimes these are the people who can say no. They're the ones who can say, yes, that's okay for the website, or no, that's not. Some of that is determined on the university level. Things like the template and things like accessibility requirements. Others are more content-centered, and they're based on your department or your college, how your unit is set up. Is there meaningful website decision-making for your unit? Or does your department take the anyone can ask to just post it to the web approach? And you do it, no questions asked. And if you do have a review process, who manages that process? So, big question. Is your audience receiving the right content from you in the right place? There's a lot of website content that doesn't need, and often shouldn't be, on a public-facing website. It's essential to review your content with that in mind. To start over from scratch and basically ask, is this where this belongs? Does this make sense? And it's all about your audience needs. You want to carefully think about what your audience actually needs and where they need to find it. And then, what's your role? I've alluded to some of this, but it's vital to understand what your role is in implementing web content strategy for your website. What are your responsibilities? Are they clearly or loosely defined? Are you familiar with web best practices and accessibility requirements? In short, do you know what not to do and what is required of all web content editors at USU? Who owns the website? And I'm not just talking from a leadership perspective, but I'm talking about who cares and has the bandwidth to conscientiously shepherd the site. And I use that term intentionally. Shepherding is an active role. Is the management of the site just one more thing on someone's plate, or a deliberate part of someone's job and focus with support to make needed changes? Is there a management plan for your site and someone to oversee that plan? Do you know who provides support for the websites in your college or administrative unit? And do you know what other resources are available to support you in your role? In short, do you know you're not alone and you've got some help? It is the role of everyone involved in managing a website to ensure that content is audience-focused and timely. It doesn't do anyone any good to have information on your homepage for an event that happened yesterday or last week. Knowing your role helps you keep your content current, focused, and relevant to your audience. Okay, are you feeling overwhelmed? Okay, I'm so sorry. We're going to fix that, okay? We are totally going to fix that. Please take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We're going to walk you through a few things you can do regardless of your role. You are not meant to come away from this conference feeling like you can't do this. We want to empower you to be able to do whatever your role is and make your website and the USU landscape exactly what it needs to be for the audience that we're serving. So where do you start? There are people whose entire role and focus is content strategy. They eat, sleep, and drink this all day, every day. We are not asking you to march into your boss's office and demand that you get a change in role so you can implement a comprehensive website strategy for your department. Instead, we're going to give you tips and tricks and tools that you can implement when you leave this conference, regardless of your role. And we also want you to start thinking before saying yes to a request to just add it to the website. We want to remind you, again, what are we talking about when we're talking content strategy? Getting the right content to the right people, in the right place, at the right time, and making user-centered, goal-driven choices about content throughout its life cycle. It is not a set it and forget it like you find on the evening ads on television, if any of you watch television and don't just stream anymore. All right, so let's talk about the right people first, all right? Because we already know a little bit about our content. We always need to remember who is our website for. If you answered that your department faculty and staff are the focus of your website, you may want to rethink how you're sharing that content with them. After all, faculty and staff, if you're providing them with internally focused things, there may be a better way. If you answered current students, I ask you this: are you sure that's who is actually using your site? Or are your current students using other resources to stay in the know? Things like the USU portal, or their Canvas course notifications, or periodic department emails. If you answered prospective students and parents of those students, is your content providing them with what they need so they can see themselves in your program? So they can want to come, or in the case of the parent, send their child to pursue that degree or that certificate that you're offering. If you answered donors or alumni, what other channels do you use to reach them? Is your web content the most efficient way to encourage donations? What data is being used to make that decision? What are you sharing with donors about your programs and your needs that will make them want to donate? And hint, this is more effective if you're running a small-scale campaign than if you are trying to get a big donor and name your college after someone. That's going to involve more hand-holding than web browsing. So what does your audience need to do when they visit your site? Are they coming to get a phone number or email, and can they find it? Are they coming to find that application or registration process, and can they find it? Are they coming to find scholarship opportunities that are unique to you? And can they find it? Can they see themselves in your place, in where you are? You'll notice that we moved quickly from assessing your audience to how your content is meaningful to them, and remembering that you are not your website owner or website user. Sorry, you are an owner of your site. So what can you do once you know the answers to these questions? So there's some action items. First is ask anyone who provides content, who is this content for? And if you're the creator, make sure you're building your content with that in mind. Ask if there are any action items that need to be part of this content. Is there a deadline or a date that they need to know? Things like that, maybe you need to focus on that. Put them higher up on the page, above the fold, so that they can act quickly. Maybe they've been here before. They don't need to read through that 3 paragraphs of why you're awesome when they already know you're awesome and they just need to register, okay? So keep that in mind. How are you presenting your content? Is it appealing to them? Can they quickly get in and out and get what they need? So what about the right content? As I said before, in really great news, you have the right content. Congratulations. You can all pat yourselves on the back. You've got the right content. But I want to make sure that you're being intentional in how you're sharing it and how you're using that content. Understand what content you have now and whether it's actually needed, whether you're missing audience critical content. These are things to think. It's hard to make updates to a website unless you want to burn it to the ground. And we're not talking about that. We're talking making updates. It's hard to make updates if you don't actually know what you have. This means a deep dive into what you've got. It's going to mean looking at the front-end web structure as well as the back end. There are tools in OmniCMS, that's the system we manage for Utah State, to help you check on pages that aren't being used or haven't been updated in a while. Using these tools regularly helps you get a handle on what you've got, what you're really using, and how often you're updating it. I can't emphasize it enough. It is important to review your content on a regular basis. And I don't mean once every 5 years. Pick a time that works. Each of you know when you have that window of opportunity, and you could look over the content that you're responsible for. Make that a regular part of your to-do list. Now, don't be overwhelmed. We'll make it easier for you. Know why it's there, who it's for, and be specific about why your content is there. You can use the downloadable files that are created in OmniCMS to kind of give you an overview as well. And make sure you add shelf life information, okay? I'm talking about when does this page no longer need to exist on our site? When is this content old and outdated? When does this content need to be updated? Or is there a system of record I'm recreating? Instead of sending them directly to that system or pulling information directly from that system, am I trying to recreate the catalog on my website instead of referencing the system of record? Keep those things in mind. Look for that. So for low-hanging fruit, look for duplicate content. Do you have pieces of information of the same information in more than one place? Pick one. Link out. Are you keeping old content up just because? If that conference announcement from 2 years ago is still on your site, it should probably be removed. No one's coming to register for the 2001 Web Con, I promise you that. It's done, it's over. And then I want you to think about your frequently asked questions. How many of you have FAQs on your site? Okay, there's a time and a place for that, but I want you to consider that if you organize your site well and your content with your audience in mind, you may not even need a frequently asked questions because your audience can find what they're looking for in one place on the page where it should live. So anytime you get an FAQ page that's miles long, think about whether that's really needed, or if you've already got that covered elsewhere, is it clear? Things to think about. If you've got PDFs on your site, look at making them into web pages instead. There is help for that, by the way. Utah State has an active program that works with you to get your PDFs into web format, and then they can be moved to your site. They're more accessible, and they have a better chance of being found. And if you're not sure that you're using them, we actually have a report for that. Make sure all your pages have a page title that makes sense, and a good page description that concisely explains why your audience would want to be there. Keep your content organized in the back end, and review your navigation structure. Is it too deep? Am I clicking, or am I quickly clicking and getting what I need? And create a process for making regularly anticipated updates. So for example, you've got a new person that just joined your faculty. What do you need from them to get their profile page up on your site? I'd suggest you're looking for a picture with standard dimensions so your directory looks consistent. Maybe tags, if you're going to pull their content in other places. What tags need to be applied? Does this faculty member have an outside website they want to reference? You'll need that URL. Is this for an advisor or someone who's using Appointment Manager? You're going to need that link. And is this faculty member going to be linking to their faculty success profile? If so, you're also going to need their A number. So things to think about. What do you do regularly and what do you need? Makes your life easier to have that all up front, and then you're not trying to find later what you need from people. If you're adding a new page, I would encourage you to please consider talking about what the page title needs to be and what the page description needs to be when you create the page in the first place. Instead of being, well, I guess we're going to use the first paragraph because that's all we've got, be deliberate. Think about why this page is here, what the audience would maybe be looking for to find it, and craft your concise page description accordingly. Google will love you, and your audience will love you. So keep that in mind. What if you have a news article? Make sure you know what date it needs to be published. An article thumbnail, a small image that can be used. Make sure you're using consistent dimensions and you know what those are. And an expiration date. Maybe this news item is for an event announcement. Once that event is passed, that particular article could be taken down. Maybe you'll have a follow-up article that talks about the speaker, the presenter, things like that, but that's a separate article and not the event announcement. So keep that in mind. Is your content making sense to keep? And once you've got it cleaned up, let's redo your sitemap. Levi, I'm looking at you. You're good to keep on top of sitemaps. They help Google know exactly what you have, and you can request that we provide that for you and help improve the search optimization of your site. Now, Jordan and Adam and Logan and Danielle on our team, they are going to talk to you more about the nitty-gritty, the details, what we do to help you and support you in all of these things. So if you're feeling overwhelmed still, it's going to get better, I promise. But we want you to get a good picture of your content and the tools that are available to help you build it and manage it. So what about the right place? Okay, your website is not a dumping ground. Unlike the table that I have here with the dumped pile of all of my things that I may or may not need, can anybody tell where I might be going on this trip? No, and my audience wouldn't be able to either if I treated my website like this. I don't know if I'm going skiing or sledding or playing at the beach. I can't tell if I'm going to go run a race or maybe dress up and go somewhere. We want to make sure our content is consistent. It's not your website is a right place, but it is not the only right place for everything, just like my suitcase. So what is the right place for your particular content? So I want you to think about these options that you have as part of Utah State. Is the right place a periodic department email to your students or to a particular segment of your audience? Maybe your right place is the USU calendar, or you've got a calendar on your site. Maybe it's an announcement on the USU portal. Maybe it's an announcement to a specific class in Canvas, or 3 or 4 classes in Canvas. Maybe it's an archiving system. Maybe it is a page on your site with important information and instructions. Or maybe it's a box folder for internal content, or for content that you want to control who has access to and what they can do with that access. So think about this. Where is your audience most likely to be going to look for this content? And where will they most likely be when they need it? Is the answer your website in all cases? No. Are you aware of your options for sharing content and how to use them and what their best use is? For course information and information specific to your current students, you've got Canvas and the USU portal that are very powerful tools to help you specifically target students in the places they are already going to be. You can see it you can look at if you look at Canvas, there's a full calendar. They can actually link that calendar to their personal calendars. And there are ways to get student-centric information to clubs in the portal, or to put up an advertisement. Maybe you're offering an event that is for all students. The portal's a great place to find them. You can also add student-specific calendar items in their club pages as well. Your information needs to be targeted to your group. You need to know your group, and you need to know where to find them. Now, if you haven't started using, I'm going to put in a plug. So, Calissa, do you mind waving your hand? Okay. I'm going to plug for putting and considering using the content with the USU portal, especially if you're using student-centered content. A lot of them are seeing it and using it. And it's a great way to catch them where they are in a format that is easy for them to digest and utilize. So I'm just going to put a plug in there. That's a great place to reach your current students. Now, do you have content that your audience needs access to long-term? So I'm thinking about things like maybe you've got a speaker series or a conference that you host every year, and you want to keep your content available, so that researchers that were coming to your conference can go back and reference it. Maybe you've got like how to do vintage gardening. Maybe you're an extension, you've got vintage gardening information, and you want to make sure that it's still here, and you've got some more information that maybe you want to target. What if you had an archive, a searchable digital archive for some of this content? Guess what? You do! Congratulations! You have Digital Commons. It can host all sorts of things. It can even host book series, lectures. It can host videos. It can be research related. It can be a target audience related. It's got a lot of amazing, powerful tools, and they're really, really great to work with. You can create a master searchable list. It really works well for you to be able to give someone a landing page where they can kind of sort through stuff. It's really great. I would highly recommend you take a look at Digital Commons in case that's a good place, the right place for some of your content. Now, what if you need to share faculty or staff resources? For internal or for controlled access, Box is a great solution. Did you know you can set your permissions on a folder to be only those who you've invited, or for the public view only? I'll give you an example. The Department of Theater Arts at Utah State wanted to have a photo archive of their productions. And we recommend that you don't keep old content on your site. And so we looked at some options for how to allow them to continue to have these beautiful historic photos preserved. And Box was the solution. They have a simple folder, public access. They didn't want people to just be able to download and then use it. They wanted to control who could use their photos because it's part of their craft, and they wanted to be able to control that access. Someone can come and look and see, and then they can reach out to if they want to use it and get specific permission. Unlike a website where, frankly, if you right-click, you can download. Most of the time. You have to do some extra work to make that not happen. So keep that in mind. The Box is a great way to do that. It's also a great way to be able to quickly remove someone's access to content. So maybe you have a staff member that leaves or a faculty member that's no longer part of your unit. You can remove their access to internal resources. So just keep that in mind. It is a way to keep it available and usable and up to date. Now, what about video content? Use an approved USU YouTube channel. Make sure that you do that so that you are able to get proper captions, have it regularly checked and audited so that you meet accessibility requirements. If you have short-term or quick action items of interest, use the portal, again, a great resource, or social media channels. Make sure that you're using an approved social media channel and making a difference. All right, so the right time. I can't emphasize enough, your website content has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a time to live and a time to die, and it's your job to make sure it dies gracefully and in the right time. So now what? Guess what? We've got you covered. You're here today. You've sat through my list of endless questions. Your brain is probably somewhat fried, but you're about to get some more and have some more fun with this. You're going to learn about improving your content with better writing. You're going to learn about ensuring that all your visitors have access to the information that you're providing. You're going to use photos more effectively or learn how to ruin your website by not. And you're going to understand and use the support tools available. You've got options. You've also got support. In addition to the team that I'm going to introduce from mine, you've also got college and admin unit webmasters that can help you. We've got Ricky Linton from Advancement. If Ricky's here, if he'd stand up or wave, that'd be great. McKay Jensen with CAS. Jason Barnett with College of Education and Human Services. We've got Simon from CHAS. We've got Levi Sanchez from Engineering. We've got Shara Gibbons and her team from Huntsman. We've got Garth Mikesell from the library. Lael and Harmony from QCNR, Neil from College of Science, oh, there you are, you're great. Tracy Johnson, all the way from Price, from Eastern. We've got Brent College and Tessa Evans, who help support student affairs. And we've got Ben Renard, WeArt, and David Sherratt from UMac that help with those websites. You've got help. You're not alone. In addition to that, if you have questions on how to use Omni CMS, you've got our team. So come on up. We got a full group. All right, you're fine. You can walk all the way over. Okay, we've got Logan Lurcher. If you've got analytics questions, he's your guy. We've got Jordan Taylor. We're going to let him tell you what he does later. Adam Thomas, right? You can wave your hand so they know who you are. Great. Danielle Bosco, back-end programmer. You're going to learn more about the tools that she's helped create later. We've got Abby Allen, Nate Taylor, Megan Christensen, and Trayson Grange. These are our student team. And where's Zach? Did he have to leave? Oh, okay. And Zachary Wheeler, who's having exciting fun times with his family. All right, so we are good. This is who if you call us or send an email, this is who's going to respond. And we are excited to support you. We want you to come away from this conference feeling empowered, feeling like you know the faces, you've seen your webmasters and those who support you. You know that they're there that can answer your questions. You've got help. You don't have to do this alone, and you really don't have to march into your boss's office and insist that they change your job title and description. So, with that in mind, thank you for sitting through this session. I appreciate that. And we've got our first round of prizes.